all signs point to a major shakeup for the St. Louis Blues after another disappointing loss and trade talks escalating around one key player. Everything is about to shift for the St. Louis Blues as Doug Armstrong navigates the remainder of this season with so many trade reports circulating this team. We have so much to break down, including one player in particular being the head front of every trade and so much more in this episode. You're not going to want to miss it. Before we get into it, I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone watching. If you're part of the 56.8% watching this and you haven't hit the sub button yet, we're trying to get this down to a 50-50 split. So make sure to go down and hit that free subscribe button. It means the world. And in return, we'll give you daily updates from all around the Blues. But with that, dears, let's just dive straight into this. And now, before we get into all these trade reports around one specific player, I do want to touch on last night where the St. Louis Blues yet again blew a lead and they lost the game versus the New York Rangers. Now, the biggest thing, the bottom left, the joke of the century, of course, of Logan Mailloux always being in the bottom left. It was his partner down there, but overall, what is your thoughts on this Blues team just not being able to not only secure a win, but hold a lead in a game?
Yeah, and in any game where you have Igor Shesterkin letting in a goal like he did last night, you have to try and capitalize on this game. You have to try and win. A couple goals, honestly, are goals that you'd never want or like to see Igor Shesterkin, if you're a Rangers fan, let in. So you did not capitalize on that. The St. Louis Blues lose again. And the way I look at it, I mean, the Rangers, I think, in terms of advanced analytics, are a much better team than people give them credit for and where they are in the standings. But you're losing to teams like the Rangers, who are a bottom five team in the league. You still have games coming up against Colorado Avalanche, against teams like Utah, all these other teams. Like, it's going to be tough. It is going to be tough down the stretch here if you continue to drop these games. So, not a good loss. I was hoping for a better result for the Blues in this game, even going to overtime or something like that, because it was a tight game. And you let the Rangers score goals on home ice, which is something they have not been able to do this year. So that's another tough one to drop. I mean, Mayu being at the bottom again, somebody has to be, right? And we talked about it yesterday. Like, you can't really shelter him anymore because everyone is not playing great. So it's a tricky situation, but I just don't know, if anyone's on the way to help at this point. I feel like it might go the opposite way.
And I think the big thing is, listen, Logan Mailloux in that first period looked like a completely different player. He looked great, confident, and of course, they lost this game. You cannot just pin this on him, even though he got pinned in his own zone for almost 2 minutes. But this is a team that continues to struggle, Darius, and that goes straight into the multiple reports flying around the team, and that's bound to happen. A team that is the fourth worst team in the NHL at the current moment, just above the Vancouver Canucks, who started a fire sale, the Calgary Flames, who are in the midst of one, and the Nashville Predators that were playing franchise mode and failed. This is a team that is falling farther and farther down the standings, and it has started circulating. Now, on November 11th, we've seen reports the Blues are reportedly looking to make some trades, and Brayden Schenn could be the first out the door, not Jordan Kyrou. Now, this came from Frank Seravalli, but even this continues to get backed up once again by David Pagnotta of the fourth period. Teams have already checked in on the Blues about availability of Brayden Schenn. If the Blues aren't contenders by December, their captain could be the most valuable trade chip. Now, Darius, listen, this is a team that we know there's going to be turnover. There's going to be players moved unless they get into a playoff position. We've seen it before, and I'll beat the drum again. 2019, we know this team can do it. But looking at this team with Brayden Schenn, what is your thoughts on this team and maybe moving their captain on before this deadline?
And not just 2019, even last season, the Blues didn't start well, and then they ended up in the playoffs. And if you thought that the trade chatter last year around Brayden Schenn was crazy, get ready for this year, especially because of the way things are going for the Blues. And last year, he had a no movement clause. This year, he doesn't. His contract, obviously, the last 2 years of his contract, he has a modified no trade list. So he can be traded now to a certain number of teams. So I think Doug Armstrong is working the phones. If you look at Jordan Kyrou, it does actually make sense on paper that he wouldn't be the first out of the door simply because of his contract and that he has a no movement clause now. So this does make sense on paper that it could be Brayden Schenn that's on the way out first. He has term, which a lot of GMs want. His cap hit is relatively low considering the salary cap is going up at only $6.5 million. He is a center, very those are wanted around the league right now. There's a high demand for those. He's a center who's won the Stanley Cup. He's the captain of this team. I'm a little hesitant to trade Brayden Schenn if I'm a Blues fan, if I'm Blues management, because he is the captain of this team. He was around in 2019 and he carries that culture with him. You want to keep that around. You never want to go scorched earth, but there are a lot of guys that have been around for a while in this dressing room still, like a Robert Thomas, for example, that could maybe, continue carrying that torch, for lack of a better term. So you have to look at both sides of it here. If the Blues continue to lose, you're going to get a great return for Brayden Schenn. No way, no matter how you look at it. So I think that you have to at least start considering it and working the phones. And I think Doug Armstrong is doing that, considering all the rumors and reports that are flying around about Brayden Schenn. And one team that has been named as well is the Ottawa Senators. They do want to go all in. They want to add to their center depth. They want to add to their forward group as well. They also want a defenseman, which could be interesting because I don't think the Blues have any to offer them right now because you want to keep all your young defensemen. But I think that could be very interesting and a good fit. And I think Ottawa has a lot of really good pieces that the Blues could use as well, young pieces that can make a difference in the future.
Because I think the biggest thing is we're going to see a lot of teams calling. Everyone seemed to be buying that middle six or top six center to join the team. The Montreal Canadiens, the Toronto Maple Leafs are looking more for a winger. But even going into Ottawa, every team is looking to buy. And this intriguing contract of a player, once again, that won a Stanley Cup, that is a captain, knows what it takes to win, though they're not winning right now. This is a guy that every team is going to call on. And like you said, the trade chatter is not going to slow down. This is going to pick up. And we can even see from fans, everyone speaking, Brayden Schenn probably wouldn't be on my team for much longer if I was Doug Armstrong. Love him and what he's done here, but it's business. And I think with everyone buying, you have the opportunity to really get ahead of the pack. A guy that's been around this league, someone that can win you face-off, win you anything, push you into the playoffs when you're on a contending team. And Darius, my biggest thing is falling back on this. We've seen how good Dvorsky has been on this team. He joined this team, took over the center line, second line center position, or you could say third, depending on how you're looking at these lines. But having this youth movement come through the team, it's working with Dvorsky. Do you think with the emergence of Otto Stenberg and how good he was during the training camp and preseason, that maybe Doug Armstrong's looking and saying, hey, this is our replacement. We have it. Let's get assets and bring this guy up.
These are your replacements in the future anyway. That's the way I'm looking at it right now. And I love that you brought this up because the other argument for not trading Brayden Schenn is that he's an experienced center. And are the kids ready for that right now? And can they make a difference for the Blues? If you're so far out of the playoffs, it doesn't necessarily matter. You can trade Brayden Schenn and then you call up a guy like Stenberg. And, Schenn's not even playing center right now. He's on the wing anyway. Dvorsky has already, like you brought up, taken over that spot anyway. So yeah, he is ready, I guess. He's playing at the NHL level full time right now. And then when you look at a guy like Stenberg in Springfield, save that guy, get him playing in the NHL because Springfield is not a very good team this year either. So get him up and maybe, moving around in the lineup and getting that NHL experience if this is going to go south and you look like you're going to miss the playoffs. And even then, you don't know. These young guys could surprise and maybe you start putting some wins together because of the youth. You got the legs now, you got the speed and, the hunger. They want to win, right? Because they've never really had a chance at the NHL level. So I love what Dvorsky's brought on the power play as well. So why not start handing the keys over? It's going to happen anyway, right? And if you look like you're not going to make the playoffs, what else do you have to lose this year? You might as well start at least getting their feet wet at the NHL level. So then in the future, they're ready to go either next year or the year after that, because these are the guys anyway. You're handing the keys off to these exact guys anyway. That was the plan anyway, right? So I think it's going to be very interesting down the stretch here the next couple of weeks because I think it's a real possibility Doug Armstrong's looking at trading Brayden Schenn right now.
And I mean, if you look at 2019, they called up someone in Jordan Binnington, and look what happened there. So maybe you're going to call some guys up, get that spark. We've seen the spark with Dvorsky. Maybe we need this youth movement now to see if this can change anything. But fans, what is your thoughts on these reports that teams are going to continuously call on Brayden Schenn? Are you fine with moving him? Would you rather keep him? Who would you name captain if Schenn's moved on? Would you wait or name someone immediately? Let us know down in the comments. And speaking on comments, let's go straight into comments today. Always enjoyed your content from the US. And listen, we just want to give you a huge shout out from everyone watching. Listen, let us know where you're watching from. Australia, is it in Sweden, Slovakia, anywhere? Let us know. We love reading through, and it's awesome to see how much the Blues are taking over the world and not the standings. But listen, that'd be it for this episode. If you guys enjoyed this, make sure to go down, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back in another episode, so keep your eye out for that. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Sirius, and take care, Blues fans.